I'm Datma Consalvi, the Family and Community Engagement Liaison for Cumberland County Schools. Welcome to Cumberland Family Academy's Coffee Conversations. We use this platform to provide timely information to the families of Cumberland County School students. During each episode, we discuss timely topics and chat with district and community leaders who share important information with our viewers. Today, this episode will be all things back to school. It'll be full of information for parents and students about our new transportation initiative, Here Comes the Bus, health services updates, lunch prices, how to get ready for the first day of school, and more. So sit back, grab a cup of coffee, and join us for this coffee conversation. I'm excited to welcome our guest from Cumberland County Schools, Mr. George Hall, Director of Safety and Security, Mrs. Melody Chalmers McLean, Associate Superintendent of Student Support, Dr. Jane Fields, Associate Superintendent of School Support, Ms. Christy Harden, Executive Director of Transportation, Ms. Shayla Bannister, Child Nutrition Services Director of Operations. Later, we will have Ms. Shelley Bolden, Director of Health Services, and we have two special guests from American Heart Association, Ms. Kim Pendleton, Youth Market Vice President for American Heart Association, and Melanie McFarland, the Director of Cumberland County, to give us some tools for staying healthy during school year and updates on COVID-19 guidelines. Welcome, everyone. All right. Okay, so the first question is for you, Ms. Chalmers McLean. Our school board recently voted to make wearing uniforms optional for students enrolled in uniform schools. Why is that, and is this permanent or until the market can get more clothing?
So absolutely. So we have 17 schools that have a required uniform policy in place. And so we have paused the enforcement of the uniform dress code for those schools for the 2022-2023 school year. This pause was necessitated by supply chain and uniform availability issues that we were able to verify with major retailers that stock school uniforms in our area. So what we will say is that for the parents of children who attend schools that have that uniform dress policy in place, they may continue to send their children to school in those uniforms if they desire to do so and are able to locate them. But there will just not be a penalty imposed upon a student for a uniform violation during this school year.
That's great information. So as a follow-up question, Ms. Chalmers McLean, can you tell our viewers what the dress code is for students?
So overall, our student dress code policy will remain in place for all of our CCS students. So therefore, we expect that students will have dress and personal appearance that supports academic performance and interacting with students. We do believe that dress and personal appearance do greatly affect a student's experience in school. And so we expect that parents will outfit their children in clothing that will be conducive to learning. We do encourage families to contact their school to be aware of any school-specific expectations for acceptable attire. And they should also be able to find that on their in their student handbook for the school that students will get on the first days of school. But they may want to reach out ahead of time to make sure that they are properly attired for the first day. Parents can also consult the CCS Student Code of Conduct, which can be found on our district's website, and it goes into more of a general description of expectations for attire. But in general, we expect that clothing will not be disruptive, not be provocative or obscene. We do prohibit any clothing that might endanger the health or safety of students or others, or that promotes any type of illegal activity. So that is prohibited. And so, we just want students to be comfortable when they come to school and that they have a great experience. And we don't want them to be limited by any attire that would prevent them from doing so.
Thank you, Ms. Chalmers McLean, for that information. Let's move on to our latest transportation update. And we have our Executive Director of Transportation, Christy Harden, to tell us what we need to know about Here Comes the Bus. Ms. Harden, what can you share with us about this new and exciting new app, Here Comes the Bus?
Well, good morning. Here Comes the Bus. It is an easy to use app that parents or families can download onto their phones. They can also access it with their computer, but it gives them real-time location of their child's bus and alerts them when the bus is near.
Okay, great. And a follow-up question, Ms. Harden. Do our parents have to download the app or is it optional? And is there any cost associated with the app?
So parents, they will have to download it. It's not mandatory. It's definitely optional. There is not a cost associated with it. But yeah, based on the feedback we have received thus far, parents are really enjoying it. But yes, so that is something that is available to them. We're excited to be able to roll that out this year.
Well, thank you, Ms. Harding. We truly are excited about this app, and I am sure that this will help parents feel more connected with our school system and help them feel confident sending their children to school. Ms. Bannister, thank you for coming and having a conversation. We have heard the news that lunch prices have risen. And what is the main cost of this? And can students and parents get any relief?
Good morning. How are you doing today? The main reason that why there was a 50-cent increase for full paying students at non-CEP schools, we've seen increases across the board along all categories. Increased food costs, supply cost, equipment cost, labor, and also our contracted services. So this school year at non-CEP schools, students at elementary schools will be paying $2.65 for lunch and $2.75 at the middle and high school levels. But I also want to notate that this year, regardless of your school location, regardless of grade level, all students will receive breakfast at no charge. So we're excited about that.
And as a follow-up questions, can students still apply for assistance if they're not in a low income area?
Absolutely. About 70% of our schools are CEP. So if you're not in a CEP school, there are two ways in which you can apply for assistance. You can fill out a lunch application by going to www.lunchapplication.com. You can send that that way. And another way is to visit your school, ask for a paper application, and you can turn it into the cafeteria manager in which we can process it.
Thank you for that information, Ms. Bannister. Child nutrition is critical to our child's well-being, and as well as all of the topics that we have been discussing on this episode of Coffee Conversations. But we're not done yet. We have some tips from the Associate Superintendent of School Support, Dr. Jane Fields. The first day of school is rapidly approaching. What are some tips that you can give our parents to help our students be ready for the first day of school?
Well, I've heard a good many people say over the last couple of weeks that summer went by quickly. And while it may have passed quickly, I think it's important to remember that our students have been out of school for about 14 weeks now. So the first tip I would have, if you haven't already started to establish routines, I think it's important to do so. Switching from a summer schedule to a school schedule can be very stressful for everyone in the household, parents and children alike. And I can say this from personal experience. So to avoid as much of the first day of school stress as you possibly can, start practicing your routine a few days in advance. Children during the summer are not always on a tight schedule. They may stay up later at night because they can sleep later in the morning. So start now with establishing routine bedtimes to ensure they have adequate rest. set your alarm clocks and practice going through your morning routine. So, children can make sure they're at the bus stop on time and arrive at school on time. So I think the routines will help everyone feel more comfortable with making that transition back to school and making the first day of school go much more smoothly. Additionally, just talk with your children and try and ease any of the concerns that they may have about going back to school, and help us get them excited about returning to the buildings, because we are certainly excited to have our students return next week.
Thank you for that wonderful tip. I have a follow-up question. Where can parents find school supply lists for their children, and what is required for the first day of school?
Well, we don't want families stressing out about school supplies, but they have been advised to reach out to their child's school directly to inquire about specific lists. Information can also be found on schools' individual websites, as well as linked on the CCS website in that very helpful back to school guide. As families are attending open houses this week, they may receive additional information from classroom teachers. If not, they will definitely get it when school begins next week. As far as the first day, let me reiterate, we do not want families stressing about supplies. If you haven't seen a list yet, or prefer to wait until your child's teacher shares the list, that's perfectly fine. They can come to school with the basics, something to write with. I think what we have to remember is what's most important on the first day and every day is having happy children back in the buildings.
Thank you, Dr. Fields, for that awesome information. So, George, this question is for you. We have seen an uptick in school violence recently, and unfortunately, it doesn't seem like it's slowing down. What are we doing to make sure our students are safe, and how can we bring some sense of safety and security to our parents?
The big thing we're doing is making sure our staff is trained in the safety procedures that we're supposed to be doing. The other thing we're doing is upgrading some of the security in the schools on top of what we already have. For instance, we've got all the exterior doors are locked, and they have to be buzzed in to get inside the building after they're identified. The other thing we're doing is we're currently installing night locks for the classrooms. You can lock them from the inside, and nobody can bust it in without having like fire department tools. So the big thing is just reiterating what our safety procedures already are. And then we're adding some other things, like we're looking at adding a notification for the staff that they can press one button in case of an emergency. We're also looking at some scanners that do more than just metal detect. They are operated by coil field. They can actually differentiate between like a set of keys and a weapon. So we're investigating all of this stuff and trying to upgrade and stay ahead of the curve on that.
Great, thank you so much. And I have a follow-up question. Who are the school angels, and how can they keep our kids safe?
Okay, the School Angels is a volunteer program where they go to the school and they actually patrol the outside of the school. When they get there and sign in, they get a walkie-talkie so that they can communicate back and forth to the school. But they are basically our eyes and ears on the outside of the school. If they see something that makes them uncomfortable, or they see something suspicious, they contact the school, which in turn has the SRO go and investigate that.
Up next, we have some COVID-19 guideline updates and some tips on how to stay healthy with Ms. Shirley Bolden, the Director of Health Services for Cumberland County Schools, and two special guests from the American Heart Association, Ms. Kim Pendleton, the Youth Market Vice President of the American Heart Association, and the Director for Cumberland County American Heart Association, Ms. Melanie McFarland. Ms. Bolden, can you give us an update on COVID-19 guidance and what is needed from students on the first day of school?
Absolutely. Students will arrive to school, and we just ask parents to pre-screen their children prior to sending their child to school. If their child has a cough or runny nose or a fever or diarrhea or vomiting, we ask that you keep your child at home. Students will be able to attend school with a mask or without a mask. It is their preference.
Follow-up question, Ms. Bolden. Can you remind us when our students need to be fully immunized by? Which students require North Carolina health assessment? And where can students find the list of required immunizations?
Yes, so students need to be fully immunized 30 days after their first day of school attendance. The health assessment is also required 30 days after their first day of school attendance for kindergartners and for any child who is new to a North Carolina public school. So if they've never attended a North Carolina public school, they must have the health assessment 30 days after their first day of attendance. And the list of those vaccinations can be found on the Health Services website. And so if you go to the Cumberland County Schools webpage, click on departments, go down to Health Services, you'll find all sorts of information that will keep you well informed and your child healthy this school year.
Thank you so much. We know that staying healthy throughout the school year is very important. Ms. Pendleton, we would like to know how the American Heart Association is helping with our children's health. And what are some of the tools we as educators and parents can use to keep our children and students healthy?
Well, thank you so much for having us. We do have programs in many Cumberland County schools. One is called the Kids Heart Challenge. That's elementary school. And then in middle and high schools, we have the American Heart Challenge. So we have lots of tools and resources available to the educators, but there's also a parent corner. Every school participating has a website, and there's lots of neat resources there. So I can mention in a moment how parents and guardians can get there, but anyone can go to the American Heart Association for information on being healthy, building a healthier family. So our main website is heart.org. And heart.org has a lot of information, but it's got some pretty good search bars. So if you put in family or children's health, you're going to be linked to our information. So I would say if you have access to the web, the heart.org is the best place to start. And that's also where we have information that we give to the schools that participate. And we hope that we're reaching more kids, more teachers. And we know this year the health information has changed a little bit. We used to focus on just the physical health. There's a few things changing this year around managing stress in the post-COVID era, getting enough sleep. You know, the simplest way for someone to take a look at their health and the health of their family is to go to heart.org and look for something called Life's Essential 8. And it pops up with just about any search on health, family health. We used to call this Life's Simple 7, and it's 7 steps to an overall healthy life. And the reason it's Life's Essential 8 now is there's finally science behind the importance of sleep. So whether we're adults, children, there is enough research to prove the impact on the body from a lack of sleep and what's important from getting enough sleep. So that's one thing that's changed with our program. You know, once there is science behind it, we can add it, we can promote it. And Life's Essential 8 includes things like moving enough, staying hydrated, and avoiding tobacco. But, you know, we know that can be overwhelming when we take a look at the whole 8 and making major life changes. So the whole program encourages one step at a time, taking one area somebody wants to improve and just focus on that for a while. And we see a lot more success with that approach.
What are some of the challenges that the American Heart Association has created for students in grades kindergarten to 12?
Great question. You know, all of our programs at a school each year, we ask the kids to go ahead and register for their school's site where they each has a website for their program if they're doing Kids Heart Challenge or American Heart Challenge. But when they log in or when they register, we ask them to take a challenge. We know that children are usually doing this with a parent or guardian. So we're hoping it creates discussion around what health challenge they're going to commit to. And it's usually 2 challenges to pick from. This year, it is to move more or to do a kindness. And so the younger children in elementary school choose from one of those commitments, and it can be for the 3 or 4 weeks the school does the program. In the high schools, it's a little different. We ask them to refresh or learn hands-only CPR and to move more. So the 2 challenges change every year, but it is kind of neat because the school can see how many students signed up for what challenge. And it is really neat because we're hoping it's creating discussion at home. You know, to fill that out and to register quickly does take a child understanding which box they're going to click. So our hope is they're creating discussion at home.
Ms. McFarland, since you're from the local area, how can someone get involved with the American Heart Association to help students learn how to be health conscious and stay active?
That's a great question. So we work directly with your schools that are in Cumberland County, and we have an office that's right here. We're not too far away in Durham, and our office does events that are local, and they also do events that are closer towards Cumberland County as well. And our biggest push with our students in taking on those challenges is that they're year-round. So while we work with the Kids Heart Challenge and/or American Heart Challenge, parents are encouraged to log online to the website that Kim mentioned, to their portal, and they're able to do any of those activities at home and/or in school. So some of the activities they can do are riding their bike, jump roping, going for walks. It doesn't necessarily have to be something structured in PE class. They can do anything at home with their families or with their friends.
And for both Kim and Melanie, we know that the American Heart Association is an important organization for the health and well-being of all citizens of our great nation. And we understand that one of the ways that we can help fight the fight is to donate. How would someone do that?
A couple ways someone can help us and donate. Being nonprofit, we always have a fundraising component in our programs, but it's optional. The schools that participate with us, the parents will get a letter home asking them if they wish to donate. The school's program is free, and it has a terrific amount of information. As I mentioned earlier, a parent's corner. So one of the things coming, if your school's participating, is information about how to log on, look at the parent's corner, reach the fantastic information about being healthier as a family, helping your kids to move more. We've got some resources this year that are fantastic because they deal with, you know, mental well-being, the whole well-being of the child. They deal with helping children to connect again, connectivity, finding their joy again. And so we are hoping to get those out to the parents. So one of the things we do is ask the schools to participate, and we get great volunteer coordinators, and they share the information home. Knowing our teachers just have so much to do right now, we would love for every school to participate, but sometimes there's the hesitancy because it's a little bit of volunteer work. So if a parent wanted to volunteer at their child's school, boy, that would make it easy for the program to get in the school for every student. With a little bit of help, knowing that a PE teacher might be willing to do the fun, active celebration part, if a parent could kick it off, work with an office on the health announcements and putting up some posters, you know, they could really help us create a great health event with limited work put back on the teachers. So it used to be jump rope for heart. A lot of schools still do jump rope as their celebration because the PE teachers are teaching that anyway in elementary school. In middle school, sometimes it's basketball. They're playing basketball, teaching skills. And the coaches, the PE teachers like to do the fun part, the activity. They don't have to plan a huge event. They just do what they're normally doing, turn on some music, and it's the celebration. But to get all the information out, disseminate, and repeat the messages for the children week after week in what we call a Kids Heart Challenge event, it's usually about 3 weeks. That requires someone to, you know, stuff the mailboxes for the homeroom teachers to get information home, get the social media posts to the right person, help with morning announcements. And also part of it is giving out the little characters the kids earn. And in our program for elementary school, the characters all have a message. So I don't know if you can see these, but this year it's dragons. So each dragon has a message about being kind, being a leader, drinking your water. Hydro is all about water. Dream is all about getting enough sleep. We think the dragons are going to be a big hit this year. So anyway, the kids get so excited when they earn a dragon. They come in and they're hammering the PE teacher, whoever's our volunteer, I want my dragon. So if we had a parent volunteer to kind of be there once a week and help give out the dragons, that makes it so easy. So if a parent wants to donate, great. You can donate through your school that's participating to their Kids Heart Challenge program. They do earn PE equipment back based on if they fundraise. So it's great to donate through your school. They can help the school in other ways. But if they want to help the program, that's what we need. We're volunteer driven. So if parents want to volunteer with a program or their school's not doing it, they could reach out to Melanie and together they could go talk to the school, maybe the assistant principal, PE teacher, someone who would consider the program and help them pull it off without a lot of heavy lifting on the teacher's part. So that would be an ideal way to help the American Heart Association's mission.
Thank you for the information today. It has truly been a great conversation with all of you. Is there anything that I might have missed?
I want to add a follow-up to the School Angel program. We have a coordinator in our office. His name is Kenneth McKinnon, and we are always looking for volunteers because they generally work like 2 or 3 hours at the time, and some of them even do multiple schools during the week. So anytime we can get more volunteers and they go through our vetting process, we will put them to work.
And if I may, I would like to add something that I missed previously. I just want to remind everybody that breakfast is no charge at all schools, all grade levels. And another wonderful benefit this school year, if a student qualifies for reduced lunch, they also eat at no charge. So that's extending benefits to a larger group of students. So if you're reduced, you will not have to pay anything to eat lunch. And so we encourage all non-CEP students to make sure they fill out a lunch application.
Well, I just want to say for all of us out there, the Heart Association and the heart.org website has information for adults. It's been a challenging couple of years, and we know that sometimes we don't take care of ourselves as much, especially teachers, parents. We take care of the little ones, but self-care is very important to make sure we can take care of the kids. So I encourage everyone to explore whether they're looking for stopping smoking, stress management, just how to be healthier and start an activity with their family. There's helpful information there. So we hope everyone will remember heart.org. Thank you for this opportunity.
Welcome. I would like to thank everyone for joining us for this coffee conversation. I know we have heard a lot of information, and where you can find all of this information is in our back to school guide. The link is at the bottom of the screen. Also, at the bottom of the screen is the address to the American Heart Association with a link to donate. You can find all the links in the description of the video. Again, thank you for watching. My name is Datma Kansavi, and this has been Coffee Conversations.